Hello and welcome to the Poor Hammer Podcast, episode 60. I'm your host, Brad. This is my co-host, Eric.
How's it going?
We have a very fun episode for you guys this week. Last week, got a little bit critical, looked at some possible futures. This week, we're just having the dumbest fun.
I mean, we're not talking about dinosaurs this time, Brad, but yes, the dumbest fun.
We could be talking about dinosaurs. I could switch orcs to be giant squig-off. All right, so as for what we're doing today, we are looking for every army's knight equivalent, their timmiest model, the thing that is the biggest, baddest, funnest thing you can get without going too far that it breaks our rules, but we'll get into those first.
Sounds good.
All right, to explain the rules to everybody, because I know everyone loved the Dreadnoughts episode, and everyone complained that we were bad at following our own rules. Here are the rules in advance.
Just so that we can ignore them in the future.
Exactly, and all complaints can be forwarded to your mother's address.
Wow. I don't know about that joke.
All right, so to start out the rules, first things first, it is style over how good its rules are. We do not care if this model sucks. We are using our Timmy brains, not our Spike brains, which we should probably explain what a Timmy and a Spike are.
Given that this isn't a magic podcast, might be a good idea to explain what that actually means. So, real quick, Timmy is looking for adrenaline and excitement from playing the thing. The big, exciting thing. Doesn't matter if it's good or not. It's just, that's why they're playing the game.
There is Johnny, who we're not concerned about today. Johnny is about self-expression, showing your friends a cool combo, stuff like that. Making a very interesting list while list building.
Or an interesting character. And then the Spike, well, the Spike's a problem. You're trying to just win.
Spike is the more rule-oriented, cutthroat part of you. And everyone has all three characteristics.
Yeah. Definitely.
These are the universal psychographics that your mind is split into while looking at a game.
And there's other small things and whatever. This is just like a quick 3 sections of players and where you're looking at.
But we are looking as Timmies today.
Yep.
We want big dinosaurs.
And it doesn't matter if they're good, if they have fun rules or whatever. We're just looking for the big thing to be like, hey, look at what I did. That was fun.
Now, rule number 2. We had to draw the lines somewhere. So there is a bottom and a top of what we're accepting that we will, I'm sure, break.
No, we would never do that.
On the low end, I'm saying if it is a tank, it has to be bigger than your Land Raider, your Rogaldorn, your main battle tank that your army has.
Right.
If it is a thing on 2 legs, it's got to be bigger than a Leviathan Dread or a Redemptor Dread. If it's a plane, it has to be bigger than your faction's basic plane.
And if it's a plane, you're probably gonna get a failing grade anyways, because, like...
And to keep this from just being what is the biggest model Forge World makes for your army, I'm going to ban things that we consider to be Titan class. The stuff that goes beyond in 40k where it's like half your list or more type stuff. We're not going to be dealing with that level. We're looking for something that's like a knight equivalent. Because to be honest, we would have like 0 GW options if we didn't have this rule. So this is another thing. We're going to take off points if it's from Forge World. If a plastic solution exists, we will not go to Forge World. There is not a model that would get a higher grade in Forge World than whatever passes the bar in GW's plastic line.
Yeah.
I'm aware there are some models that when put together and freely acquired look cooler from Forge World than the plastic variant that may be the one we choose for a faction. We don't care because it's an overpriced piece of terrible resin.
Yeah, at some point we'll have a full rant on Forge World, I'm sure. But for now, if we went with Forge World, it's because there wasn't an even acceptable other option.
Another one is we have a bias going into this. Legs beat treads.
Yup.
Treads beat airplanes.
Yeah, because we're looking for the faction's knights.
It's more, we're looking for like the biggest, baddest model, and planes is not what we're looking for. Like, I'll take a super tank if you don't have a super walker.
Right.
But a plane is entirely different. They're only here for the Hail Mary, we gotta pass this class class.
Yeah.
You wrote your plane homework at 5 minutes before the class started.
You didn't really fully read the assignment, but I guess maybe kinda sorta. On that note, Imperial and Chaos Knights just auto pass and get, that's what we're comparing to. So
just like on the Dreadnought episode, you get your auto A, your 100%, congratulations, we're not talking about you today, just like we skip Space Marines for Dreadnoughts because they're the Dreadnought faction.
You are the point that we're comparing everything else to.
So, you win the Timmiest Army Award. Get yourself a gold star. Next up is we are not counting the ability to soup a knight. It has to be for your faction. You can't go, but I'm Imperium. I could just soup a knight. Therefore, I should be able to pass.
Yeah, especially with the new rules that make souping easier and stuff like that. So, like, no, stop it. Actually submit your own homework.
Yeah, otherwise this would be an irrelevant contest for like 70% of armies.
And obviously, this is scientifically proven, objective scale. These are the results.
All right, class is back in session, Eric. It's time for us to hand out the grades for these homework assignments. Who's up first?
Let's start with Space Marines. It's a good generic entry point.
Yeah, and you guys on our last version of this got your auto pass with just being the Dread Army. What did you submit for Knights here?
Yeah, not much. We've got to go to Forge World. Not a great start.
I feel like we're gonna get complaints because we weighted it slightly against Space Marines here because I had to choose lines and I used a Space Marine for the line. So like, hey, it has to be bigger than a Redemptor Dread. Well, I just banned the Redemptor Dread.
Yeah.
I do think this is more correct to do because we are looking for big stuff, not just like, yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
We're looking for big.
And I mean, I guess like you said, technically the Redemptor Dread would like kind of sort of maybe be a not great grade, but no, we're looking for things that are actually splashy. We're having fun with it. My immediate thought was the Macedon because I thought that was huge, but apparently the Astraeus is as big-ish or bigger, depending on size, you know.
Yeah, depending how you measure it. But more importantly, it looks like the Scorpion from Halo, except massive.
Yeah, that is big points. And it does look kind of cool.
I gotta say, it's up there as my favorite Space Marine tank. I think there's a variant of like the Sicarius or whatever from 30k that I also like this much.
Yeah.
These are more my style of tank. Less looking like a basic box like the Land Raider and the Impulsors and yeah, none of that.
You don't like the Rhino?
30k's aesthetic is a little bit better in my opinion.
And it's also one of those that like it's fine for something like the Imperial Guard to have like modern general tank looking thing. Let's have some fun when we're looking at other factions. And yeah, this has a bit of fun to it. I'm here for it. It kind of looks like a snowmobile with its front though. I think that's good. I don't know.
So we do have to knock some points off from 100% here because, first of all, Forge World.
Yeah.
We loaded it against you, sorry, but we're knocking major points off anytime we have to touch resin here.
Yep.
This thing is probably warped to hell. It probably takes 13 hours to assemble 2 pieces.
Oh, yeah. You definitely need clamps to, like, force it together while it's gluing. Oh, it's going to be a nightmare.
Yeah. We're going to knock off a couple more points just because, again, treads.
Doesn't have legs.
But overall, I'm still happy giving this like a C. Forge World takes a lot out of it for me. It could probably still pass with like an AA- if it wasn't for that Forge World.
Yeah, it would be a solid contender, but the Forge World is definitely knocking it down. I do almost wish that the guns were a bit bigger. I feel like you could put a couple bigger guns on it, and then I'd really be happy.
I get what you're saying. I think you're underestimating the scale of the guns.
Oh, no. It's a huge gun, but like, it's also a huge tank, so like, we can go bigger.
We want a battleship on land where it's got like arrays of guns.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Like, I want to really look at this huge gun. It fires tanks out of the gun.
They put a boat on hovercraft.
Yeah, but I'm with you. It's solid contender, but Forge World, sorry, you're C.
All right, let's move on to Grey Knights because honestly, I think you just resubmitted your last homework assignment and I'm equally disappointed.
Yeah, we did. We got the Nemesis Dread Knight.
How are all 5 of your models, Eric?
Oh, they're great. They're wonderful. They're squatty and sad.
So yeah, it does technically get a passing grade. It is larger than a Redemptor Dread. You're lucky those legs are so long.
Yeah, that does help. It's clearly trying to do the thing.
It gets no points off for having legs. It gets no points off for having to resort to Forge World. But man, oh man, is this a disappointing night.
It is a bit disappointing of a night.
It's a baby carrier. You can still see the man. He's on the outside of the vehicle.
I think that's where it loses points to me. You see that it's just a Terminator that like hopped into a bigger suit.
He wanted to be primary scale.
Which, I mean, wow, brutal.
I'm sorry, old Marine players. I've just been trashing you for 3 weeks now, but it's fun.
Like, I definitely get the idea of, like, I want to carry around a bigger gun, and I like that. So, like, how about I just hop into this suit that has bigger guns?
Yeah, why carry it myself when I can get my robo extension arm to do it?
It's one of those, like, I'm in a power suit, but what if my power suit had a power suit?
It's Farnsworth with the Finglonger from Futurama.
Yeah, and, like, honestly, it does hit a lot of the Timmy aspects for me.
Yeah, if anyone can appreciate stupidity, it is Timmy who can appreciate it's so dumb, but so cool.
Right, and, like...
The Broly factor.
Broly factor. Oh, no. So, yeah, I mean, it's one of those that, like, comparing it to, like, an actual knight, you're like, oh, it's a bit squatty and not as, you know, there's still the guy sitting there. But I think it does a pretty good job of being a Timmy.
I'll give you a flat C.
Oof.
I'm taking off a lot of points that I didn't have to take off for Space Marines, but you're lucky you passed on all the other things they got points taken off for here. And I'm probably going to be harsher earlier in this grading process. Welcome to how unfair life is.
Yeah. That's true. Luckily, we can move on to one that's going to be awesome. It's going to get a perfect grade. We're into Sisters.
Oh, man. You almost didn't turn in any homework. You're lucky I found something with a giant base so that we can argue it. The only thing you got close, even going into Forge World you have nothing, is the Triumph of St. Catherine.
Because it's basically like 8 models on a single base.
And it is a very large sculpted base. It is technically very tall with all of the stuff coming off of it.
Yeah.
Size-wise, it's there to be a knight. It's got a lot of complexity you could enjoy from a hobby standpoint, so I'll give it that. But that's about where my compliments end. In no way does this bring up your Timmy factor.
Nope. This is an F+.
Yeah, I'll give you a D-, D.
Yeah.
The lowest of the low here.
Like, technically, it's better than you didn't do anything.
Yeah, but this is rough. I'm gonna feel bad when certain armies can't turn in their assignment. And Sisters has this with technically a passing grade. But as we said in the last episode, a D is what you give the student you don't want to see again. Because if you fail them, they have the chance to come back.
Which is just so sad, because Sisters could have the cathedral on treads, and I would be like, yeah, that's cool. But we don't have it yet, so...
The Sisters tanks get a couple bonus points for being so tall, but it's just on a little Rhino chassis.
Yeah.
When you put them next to any other full tank, you realize, like, yeah, this is the Sisters battle line tank.
Yeah.
Technically is more ornamental than other battle line tanks, but it's also small.
So it's one of those that, like, if they had a tank that was, like, full size, actually, and then was also cathedral-y and stuff, then that would have been a solid submission, in my opinion. Not A, but they don't have that yet. So, let's move on.
All right, Custodes.
This should be great, right?
You knew you were going to have to rely on Forge World. We know exactly what it is. I'm not going to do the giant Forge World flyer that's like $700.
I don't think that's even the right choice, honestly.
I don't either, because, again, legs beat treads and treads beat flyers, and we've got something with legs that is famous.
Yeah.
You get to submit one of your dreads.
How's it going?
So yeah, the Telemon is the biggest, baddest dread there is. It is basically a mid-sized knight. It's a little smaller than a full knight, but it's bigger than a war dog.
Yeah, and part of it is because the posing is so bad, but it's got this, like, bulky look to it, which does help, though, like, it's bigger because it's bulky. But that's also because, like, the posing is just like, hey, may as well just put it in a T-pose, call it good.
The default pose here is awful.
Yeah.
We're not taking points off for the pose the official Forge World artist put it in, but...
We should.
We should. No, it does. It has to lose points, though, because we relied on Forge World. I know Custodes half your range relies on Forge World, but it's still a downside.
Yeah, but other than that, it's a knight.
It is pretty much a knight. I'll give him a B- or a...
Yeah, I was going to say C+, B-.
You might argue me up to a B, but I'm saying B- because that's how much Forge World eats off of something.
Yeah, if only they had quality product. Moving on to Imperial Guard.
Which I think has just flat out the best answer in Imperium. The Bane Baneblade. I mean, we all knew it was going to be the Baneblade, and it hits the Timmy spot. This is a tank to surpass Metal Gear.
Yes. It's one of those that, like, that's the kind of gun that I want also on the Astreus.
I don't think the Astreus gun is much smaller.
Really?
I think you're underestimating. You see the little circle base under the Astreus?
Yeah.
That's a 160 millimeter base. The Great Unclean one is on a 130.
It is big.
It is a massive fuck-off tank.
Yeah. That is true.
Yeah, so the Baneblade is like...
It's the one.
It's one of the biggest footprint plastic kits possible, I think. It is a massive tank when you see one for the first time.
And you just look at it and you're just like, it's got how many guns?
And there's all the variants. There's like, what, 9 or 12? I think it's 12.
Something like that.
You can get like the volcano cannon one. You can get the super duper plasma one. It's just a cool kit.
You can flip the gun turret on the side upside down and nobody'll know one.
I love this kit, man. It's super Timmy. If you want the biggest, baddest tank, there's a reason the Baneblade's famous, and everyone loves the Baneblade. I'm giving it full marks. A+. It's probably the best thing we're going to see in the Imperium. Spoilers, it is.
It is one of those that, like, the Imperial Guard, generally you're thinking, like, you know, you're not looking for these giant mech walker type things. The Baneblade does exactly what Imperial Guard's trying to do for a knight, and it does it perfectly.
More rationally than a Gundam does, if we're being honest. There's a reason we don't build those in real life. We build tanks.
So far.
So far. Get on it, Japan.
Exactly. I mean, to be fair, it wouldn't be that difficult to build the scale of a knight in real life. They're not that big. I'm pretty sure some of the, like, rally race truck crashes and stuff like that have some mimicry type things that are basically the same size that look like Godzilla.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yes, like at a demo derby or whatever.
Demo rally, whatever the fuck they're called. Yeah, like I think some of those type of mechanical creations are as tall as a knight would be. So we could totally do it.
All right, let's use those in the next war and see how that one turns out.
Hell yeah.
So moving on to a faction that should have Mecha Godzilla but doesn't.
Yeah, AdMech.
AdMech is the first, did not finish their homework.
Is dumb because AdMech should have fucking nailed this.
Yeah. Okay, so there's two things working against them. One, AdMech is the closest related to knights lore-wise. So they soup them super easy. There's rules in their codex to soup a knight. So GW has been lazy about filling that hole with something truly AdMech. The other problem is if they had any Forge World solutions, they're locked to 30k because none of that got moved over to 40k. And I'm not letting us go to a whole different game to find a closely related faction and give you points for that. So yeah, the Dune Crawler is too small. Your plane is a plane. I can't find anything to give you points for. Call does not have enough junk in that trunk to cover you. All right, Eric, take us in to Chaos Space Marines.
All right, that finishes up Imperium. Chaos Space Marines. This is kind of a tough one also because of Space Marines' similar thing of we kind of put rules in and you were the cutoff point.
Yeah, I couldn't argue the Forge Fiend was big enough in my head.
Might be, but it's like, no, probably not.
Yeah, so we went to Forge World, and rather than just copy paste, because we can do like the Mastodon here or whatever, it's way more interesting to go with like the Charybdis Assault Claw.
Yeah, that's a weird looking model.
It gets bonus points for me for originality.
It doesn't have treads.
It's got legs. It actually walks, so that's a thing.
I mean, I don't know if it could actually walk, but it's supposed to technically be able to walk.
I gotta take points off for Forge World. I want to give points for originality, honestly.
Yeah.
It's just so unique to use this instead of anything else. Like, I've only ever seen one of these, and it is definitely eye-catching. When it's on screen, if you're watching something, you're like staring at that instead of anything else in play.
Are they still for sale?
Yes, to my knowledge.
Yeah, they are. Well, I mean, at least potentially they are. The website says they are.
It's so cheap, Eric. It's only $325 US.
Yeah, Forge World. Mm-hmm. This does a really good job of being cool, like hitting all the, this is a cool model and it's fun and you're probably going to lose, but you're going to have fun.
You're probably going to lose, but at least it'll look cool.
Exactly. That's why you're playing it. So, Forge World B-. I think it's cool, dude.
Yeah, I'll give it full grades other than the Forge World, which I think was B- for Custodes, so let's do it here.
Yeah. I guess Chaos Demons.
It feels like cheating. It's so easy for us. We have 4 greater demons. You could argue Be'lakor. You could argue the Soul Grinder if you have no taste.
I argue the Soul Grinder because the greater demons are just so obviously the greater demons.
I feel like obviously is allowed, just like the Baneblade.
That is true.
It's just so correct. It's one of the reasons I would say most Chaos Demon players play Chaos Demons. You saw a Great Unclean One, or you saw a Bloodthirster, or in my case, you saw a giant chicken monster, and you said, holy shit, this awakened something in me.
Let's move on from that. Yeah, I mean, any of the greater demons or Be'lakor, I think these do a pretty good job, and A?
I'd say A on average. I don't think I can give absolute A+. The Keeper of Secrets is a bit on the small side.
That's the one where I'm like, maybe that's like a B+, A-, so...
I feel like we're arguing the 5th biggest one, though, is too small, right. At which point...
Chaos Demons get a solid good grade.
Yeah.
They did the job.
All right, so the next couple here are going to be pretty obvious. Hey, Death Guard, it's Mortarion. Congratulations.
It's Mortarion, and Mortarion does a damn good job of it, too.
He really does. So, like, obviously Thousand Sons is Magnus.
Yes.
But of the two, I'm going to give Mortarion a lot of props.
Yeah.
I feel like you can see the sculpting skill difference that just one edition did. Magnus is very much the like, hey, we got a big demon Primarch, the first one, that's enough to sell you on him. Mortarion's like, we already did one. We got to up our game. He's held up by his cape, which is on, like, is connecting him to the ground, so it looks like he's flying. He's got his even grosser wings, which is so good in Death Guardy.
I love the fact that, like, to me, a lot of parts of Mortarion look like they should have been on Magnus. Like, the cape that's holding him up.
Yeah, you could see Magnus in, like, a flying pose type thing, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, like, not the wing being gross and deteriorated, but, like, the shape of it kind of looks a little bit better to me, at least, for what I would see.
Magnus's wings, I feel like, are iconic with the one arched up because of his pose. I love how Magnus's wings are angled, honestly.
That does help quite a bit, yeah.
But I say both of these armies, Death Guard, Thousand Sons, solid A job. I'll give Death Guard full marks, A+, 100%.
I think so.
Mortarion is a selling point.
Definitely. It does an awesome job of it.
All right, so obviously you thought we were going to be predictable and do Angron for World Eaters.
I mean, we could have, but we have better.
Also, CSM players are probably complaining that I missed a plastic model and already made their rage comment that they're going to have to go delete and shame now. No, we're not doing Angron. We're doing something technically we could have done for CSM.
Right.
But it's a corn model. It's the Lord of Skulls. It is probably my favorite thing in this whole list.
This model is awesome. We could also have the one that has actual legs on it, though.
Yeah, that's the Forge World one, and it ain't worth it ain't worth losing the points to go to Forge World to gain legs. I don't care. Have you seen the giant blood pools it keeps on its back for gas?
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm with you. Corn Lord of Skulls on these treads at that size with all the stuff. It's awesome. And yeah, like I want to take points off for the treads, but at the same time, I'm like,
no, the cool factor overrides all.
Yeah. And for this model, because I've seen what it looks like with legs, the treads look cooler.
Mm-hmm.
They're vastly superior in the rule of cool. So yeah, A+, I'm on.
And I would even argue, like, it is important to have a good Timmy lineup in an army that will already appeal to Timmies, because World Eaters got that aggressive, I want to just charge and destroy my foe and all that jazz. If you're already appealing to that, you gotta nail your actual end goal, which this does.
This is the centerpiece to that entire style.
Yes. So Angron has to take a back seat because Lord of Skulls got the A+ here.
Oh, yeah. Let's move on to Craftworld.
All right, Xenos time. So Craftworld has the obvious, easy one. It's their knight. the Wraith Knight. It's got Knight in the name.
This is a bit weird. I mean, like...
It's an auto A for me. In all honesty, having sat a Wraith Knight next to an Imperial Knight, Wraith Knights just look better.
Well, yeah, but it's tough for me because I'm just like, it's a knight.
We banned Imperial and Chaos Knights because the whole faction is the Timmy bait. Like, that's why you want to play them.
Yeah.
But Craftworld is a full giant army that just happens to include a knight.
Like AdMech should, but... And it's not some soup kind of nonsense. It's like, no, the Wraith Knight is part of the army. This is what you have access to, and it does a great job of it. So, A+.
Yeah, full marks. Amazing. Unfortunately, I feel like I've screwed over Drukhari twice here by picking these subjects first. I'm sorry, fellow...
Good.
I'm sorry, fellow Drukhari. I have to give us a lot of marks off here. We have the Tantalus, which is, in my opinion, a really cool thematic thing for Drukhari. It's the giant pirate ship in an army full of pirate ships. Our knight equivalent is a bigger pirate ship.
But no.
But when it comes down to, like, the Timmy factor, it's not very appealing.
No.
It's just a different boat. And it's not even, like, an impressive huge boat. It's a double wide boat.
Yeah, it's not an exciting, like... Oh, you took the boat and you made it, like, huge, and, like, because it's huge, it's got all this extra stuff. No, it's just, like, it's a boat.
And it's more like a pontoon boat, which, like, it's a party boat.
Nope.
It's got some major points off. It's Forge World. It's basically an aircraft.
I think it fails.
I say we pass with a D again. It's better than what we submitted in Sisters, honestly.
Fine. Harlequins, come back when you have more than 5 models.
I'm sorry, Harlequins.
I'm sure you'll have a cool one eventually.
Tau, however...
Hell yeah.
You get some major marks, baby. Look at the Storm Surge. Tell me that didn't immediately make you want to play Tau when you saw it.
S tier, you do knights better than knights ever thought they could.
Yeah, you've got that on them, but, like, you came later, so it's kind of cheating.
Don't care.
Just like when Votann replaces you for, the third iteration of Knights later.
Yeah, it's probably about right. Looking forward to that.
So, the Storm Surge, I mean, instant A, obviously. Like,
oh yeah.
Look at that cannon.
It does everything a knight wants to do, and it just takes it to the next level, honestly. It's like a knight 2.0.
The thing is so jam-packed, full of firepower, it needs braces for its legs so it can fire without falling over. It is huge.
Yeah.
Storm Surge, absolutely full marks.
Yep, and I love it.
Tyranids, though, it's kind of a rough one.
This is rough because I feel like we're gonna get something very soon.
It's a poorly timed contest for Tyranids. If we waited 6 months, they probably would get a much higher grade.
Yeah, and I'm very much looking forward to that, but as of right now, your main line just isn't really big enough.
You cap out at your main battle tank size, like your Toxicrin, that's your main battle tanks. So we need something bigger than that. You don't have like a big walker equivalent in your current lineup. Your flyer is just your flyer. So we have to go to Forge World. And when we go to Forge World and we start looking for the most appealing Timmy thing, the eye is instantly drawn to the giant dragon, which is a Titan in my opinion, so we banned that.
And the other huge thing is also apparently even bigger than I thought.
Eric did not realize how big the Hierophant was, so yeah, we're not doing that one.
It's quite big.
Eric's like, why didn't you choose this? And I had to show him comparison shots.
Yeah, apparently the reference points that I had for that had like it in like the far background or something. I don't know what they did because that thing's fucking huge.
So I'm going with, of the rest of that line, most of them are old and moldy. I'm going with the Demacarian as basically the auto pick of the bunch there. It is a pretty decent design as far as a knight equivalent goes.
I mean, I don't hate the Demacarian. It's cool. It does like Tyranid-y things that you want to do.
This does for Tyranids what I think the tank does for Space Marines, of it's your big two-legged monster thing. I'm going to say C+.
I'm going to go with C because I have expectations that they're going to learn very quickly and be able to submit something substantially better.
Sure. So, Genestealers has the problem that AdMech and Sisters have.
Rock Grinder, right?
You can't just say, I can soup the big nid. That's cheating.
But they've got the Rock Grinder. That'll be great.
Yeah, you have to live in your own faction, and in this case, the Rock Grinder is the biggest we've got. It's not enough to submit as homework, so I'm giving it the old DNF here.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to fail outright. Sorry. It's a big F.
Probably should have submitted that for the Dreadnought one.
My bad. I lost your homework last time. It's not an excuse to submit it as your homework this time, though. I will give you like a C or a B for your last homework assignment, but we can have that be your consolation prize for not getting anything this time.
Yeah. But we can move on to Votann, and not many models to choose from.
I pity let you submit your main battle tank, which I feel like is wrong.
I agree, but it is bigger than general main battle tank other options type thing.
Yes, it's larger than a Land Raider, and dwarves are the size of like old Marines, so technically...
Yeah, if their lineup was more fleshed out, they would probably have something that's slightly smaller than this, and that would be their main battle tank, and this would be something like bigger kind of thing.
Yeah, I could buy that.
But they don't have that many models yet, so it clearly doesn't look like it.
I'm going to say you can pass with a D. You get the Sisters treatment of, I probably shouldn't even let you submit this, but fine.
It is a cool fucking model, though.
All right, on to some very successful Xenos, though. Necrons have several choices. I made Eric stop pasting them in.
Yeah, but you chose the wrong ones. Okay, the first one, I'll give it to you.
It's the official turn-in. I'm giving bonus points because technically I'm not even doing the one that they consider to be our knight, which is the monolith. I'm not even considering it because it's not even the best option.
It's not a knight. It's a terrain piece. Fuck off.
It should be higher off the ground so you don't mistake it for a terrain piece. I get your complaint. You're stupid.
No, it's just a piece of terrain.
I get so mad doing this.
Stupid model. Terrain.
I agree in some ways it is a dumb model, but I think it's Timmy dumb where it's entertaining. You can see it spinning around and firing its 4 side cannons and it's funny.
Sure.
But yeah, it's not the main draw here. We're here for the Tesseract Vault.
Yeah.
It is the absolute winner in Necrons for me. Of all of the options we had available to choose from, it is massive. It is a Catan shard encaged in a machine that is both its prison and a weapon.
Yeah.
The cinematic of one cracking open is still so fucking cool.
It is cool.
It's one of the only models I don't have in the Necron range still. I don't have a monolith either. Of the two, I have a feeling I will spend money on a Tesseract Vault before I ever buy a monolith.
Are you saying you don't like that piece of terrain?
The monolith is not my style. I am much more here for Catan than I am for our transporty, tanky thing.
It is wild how many options that hit a lot of points Necrons have. Like, I mean, even just the Void Dragon Catan Shard would be cool as shit.
And you threw on the Doomstalk, but I have to knock it out because I think it's our main battle tank alongside the Doomsday Arc. If you want to argue that, hey, it's taller than a Doomsday Arc, therefore it's bigger than it.
Yeah. It's real tall, dude.
It doesn't matter because we have so many good options and we have the auto A in the Tesseract Vault.
Yeah, Tesseract Vault hits all the points. Technically, doesn't have legs, I guess.
It has legs. They're inside of it.
It has legs. It's just...
It has a lot of legs if you start counting scarabs, by the way.
In a weird way. So, yeah, okay, fine. You know what? You got it.
All right, so Orks. Eric's first option, he did not understand the scale of the Stompa and how massive it is.
It's tough because, I guess I've never actually seen them next to a knight. I've always just seen them, next to other orc stuff. And it's oh, yeah, okay, the Orc Stompa, it's big, but it's probably, knight size. No, it's fat.
He's a big boy. He is a full-on Titan. So I had to say, no, we can't use the Stompa, but it doesn't matter because the Gorkanaut is just straight up what an Orc Knight looks like.
Yeah, the Gorkanaut is what we're here for a knight, but I do have to say that the Stompa got the rule of cool dumb.
It definitely hits the it's so stupid, it's so cool.
Yeah.
I literally turned the junk pile into a knight.
Right. So, like, that's still cool, but the Gorkanaut is the right size, the right amount of firepower. Oh, man, there's lots of good guns.
You can fire a really bad gun a lot of times.
Oh, yeah. So it definitely is the Orc Knight, and it does a fantastic job of it.
I'd say it's a great parody, honestly. Like, even rule-wise, which I know we're not talking about, it's a great parody the whole way through.
Yeah.
So I'm giving absolute full points.
Yep, good job.
This is honestly a way better homework assignment. We got a lot of factions getting full points here.
Yeah, we did. We also had some factions that, like, what are you doing?
Yeah. And honestly, the most horrifying thing here is we have audio and video evidence of me saying there is something missing in the Space Marine range somehow after 180 data sheets.
Yeah, we got them.
Literally almost a quarter of all data sheets are in the Space Marine range, and somehow we don't have a good knight.
Yeah, and also, like, AdMech, one day you'll get the rest of your line, and you'll be doing fine.
Yeah, AdMech is another really rough one to have to give such bad grades to. Like, it deserves more. They will get redemption soon, though, because I think up next we have to do everybody's Rhino, just for the meme value.
Yeah, that should be a fun one.
So stay tuned for whenever we're doing that. All right, I think that does it for the main topic this week, so let's just get out of here.
Sounds good.